So when people usually come to Savannah, they come for the travel and they come for the history. And a lot of the history has to do with Indian history, slave history, history with Europeans settling in Savannah, and also with the history that comes with it, there's some ghost history. And one of the hauntedest place in Savannah is a place called the Moon River Brewing Company. That's on West Bay Street. I've passed by this building plenty of times. I never stepped foot in this building, by the way, but this building has been named probably one of the most haunted places in Savannah. Now, this building was built in 1821 by Elazer Early. He was a native of Charleston, South Carolina. Not only was it the first hotel in Savannah ever, but it also was home to the first branch of the United States Postal Office, and also it was the Bank of the United States, all under one roof at one point. And many notable people stayed in the City Hotel, including the War of 1812 hero Winfield Scott and Marquis de Lafayette, the first three commodores of the U.S. Navy, and the naturalist James Audubon all stayed in the City Hotel at one point. And Audubon stayed at this hotel for 6 months while attempting to sell books for his wildlife sketches. Now, this hotel had a bar in it at the time, and that was the feature for a lot of old hotels, to have a bar in the levels. And one of the incidents that happened with the bar was during the spring of 1832, I believe in August, there was a feud that broke out that turned into a death of a man by the name of James Starks. Now, James Starks wasn't liked by anybody in the city. He was notoriously known just for being drunk and just for being a trash talker. So he ended up starting a fight or altercation with Philip Minus. Philip Minus was a doctor, a physician for the city, and things sparked up with the altercation. So I believe at some point Dr. Minus walked into the bar again. He left and then came back into the bar and shot Stark, and he later went on trial. But part of Dr. Minus' defense was that the guy James Starks pulled out a weapon, but a lot of people didn't even really care if he had a weapon or not, because everybody needs a good doctor, and a lot of people just was rooting for the doctor anyway. So they didn't really care if the doctor killed Stark, because Stark wasn't a popular person in Savannah. And in 1851, Peter Wiltberger bought the City Hotel. He renovated it and put a live lion and lioness on display to draw attention to his business. The city's hotel final guest checked out in 1864, just before the arrival of General Sherman, a famous person in Savannah history, when he took the March to Sea in the American Civil War. And after that, it was transformed in the 1900s. That building was transformed into a lumber and coal warehouse, and that slowly declined because the use of coal was slowly declining. And that building was also used for general storage up until the 1960s. And when the 1960s came, that space was renovated as a office supply store. And after, when there was a supply store, Hurricane David came, I believe, in 1979 and blew the roof off of it. So it was sitting vacant until 1995, and it was renovated by the Moon River Brewing Company, which it was erected in April 10th, 1999. That was the Moon River Brewing Company's initial first day they grand opened. And that building also served as a temporary hospital for children for the yellow fever outbreaks that happened. And yellow fever, just a quick overview for the yellow fever, it was bad in the 1800s. It happened in 3 occasions. It happened in 1820, it happened in 1854, and it also happened in 1876. And in those 3 occasions, the first time it happened in 1820, 60 people died. And in 1854, 650 people died. And the worst of it all was in 1876, where 1,065 people died of that case. Now, I know that's not probably the exact number, and I say that because black people actually died from this too. And the thing about the Savannah history, a lot of the deaths for black people weren't reported. I guess because it just wasn't important enough, and that disease, it really focused on Europeans, that it really affected European settlers that was coming into Savannah. And that case in particular, that was caused by a mosquito, the Aedes aegypti mosquito, was the cause for the yellow fever. And that history of the yellow fever, man, the children being in that building, as far as being treated for yellow fever, a lot of children died in that building. And little kids have been seen in this building. I mean, there's been claims of bottles have been thrown off the shelves, shadows have been seen, little kids have been heard playing, people have been touched while sitting at the bar. There's an entity in the basement that says to push people out of the way. And there's also it says there's a woman in white that's been standing on the 3rd floor at the top of the stairs that don't like people walking on her stairs, so she'll push people. And about the building actually has 3 floors and a basement, and the basement actually has a tunnel. A lot of people don't know that tunnel actually, I believe that tunnel leads to Drayton Street, and I believe that tunnel was for the underground slaves. I believe they would build that tunnel. Now, one of my favorite shows on TV period is a show called Ghost Adventures. They came to Savannah actually in 2009. They came twice, I believe. They did another episode, but I believe the first episode ever done in Savannah was the Moon River Brewing Company, and they interviewed quite a few people, but 2 people in particular that was on the show. A guy by the name of Murray, I believe. I can't remember his whole name, but I believe part of his name is Murray. But anyway, he didn't actually work there, but he's more so of like a historian and an author, and also a ghost investigator. And what he was saying was that building is really haunted. You see things. There's been encounters where the people seen apparitions, ghosts, and also on that show, they actually bring the people back to do like an interview. It's like the aftermath, and they actually get these people to come back. They don't go back to the actual site, but they get these people to come back and talk about what happened after that show aired. And there's a woman on there in particular, but her name was Billy. And first she said that she seen, while she was there, she said that she seen a ghost like squat down, all black figure, and would just look at her for 5 minutes, and she thought that it was somebody. A lot of people think that ghost is a person by the name of Toby, who lurks in the bar's billiard room, where he's known to push people off of the chairs. And man, I mean, there's a lot of accounts, and what she was saying was that it's been rough for her because within the past 6 months, 11 people close to her died. You know, she was like, she can't explain why people have died, and there was people that was all close to her. She was saying that her father died when his heart split in half. Her other friend died from a toothache. Her dog died randomly. Like, a lot of things were just happening to her that she couldn't explain. And what the guy was saying was that actually during the first time Ghost Adventures came, he actually had a wife during the time, but I believe they eventually broke up. But the guy that was in question, and he didn't really want to say too much things that was really going on in his life personally, but he was just really stating and just really saying that, you know, his life has changed, and it made him want to do things that was unnatural. And I mean, he lost his wife because of it, and I mean, he's just been like really like up about it. And ghosts change people, you know. It might not even change you, it might change the people that's around you. I might just take the people that's out around you. And what Billy was also saying was that she worked with other people, like other employees at that building, that they quit randomly because of they was afraid. She was saying black employees quit as well because, you know, ghosts don't treat black people well either. And also, it took out a lot of people close to her. Like she said, it took out 11 people close to her within 6 months. And what I learned about watching Ghost Adventures show, there's 2 types of spirits. You have a human spirit and you have a demonic spirit. Now, human spirits are a little bit more calmer. They don't attack you as much. I mean, they can attack, but demonic spirits, they scratch, they beat, they push you, they yell. I mean, they do all types of stuff. And they're not, when the ghost attacks you, it's not on the physical level, it's on the spiritual level. It's something that you can't touch. And, you know, they can only fight on their level, not on your level. So you can't fight back at all. You know, it's something that you can probably see, but you can't, or maybe you can't even see it sometimes. I mean, sometimes it's just a little apparition, sometimes it's just a little ball shooting across. I mean, there's been a lot of other accounts in that building. I never stepped inside of that building. I walked past it plenty of times. And yes, this is the new series. I'm gonna start doing this series. I don't know what I'm going to exactly name this series, but I'm gonna just keep this going because there's a lot of stuff I'm gonna keep on doing for the series. I mean, there's a lot of other haunted places in Savannah, like 432 Abercorn Street, Bonaventure Cemetery, Calhoun Square, the old Candler Hospital, the original Candler Hospital, Sorrel Weed House, 1790 Inn, or 1790 Inn, what else? The Gribble House, the Pirate House, Madison Square. I mean, the Pirate, or the Shrimp Factory, that's haunted downtown. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that's haunted in Savannah that I really want to cover. And if you guys really like this video, I could do a part 2 of this. I can actually get some video inside of the Moon River Brewing Company, show you how it looks like on the inside, because I mean, they actually have some good food in there from what I heard. And you know, I could try to ask people that work there how it's like to work there and whatnot. I mean, if you guys are really interested in that, I could do that. I can't promise that it'll be this month because, you know, like I said, the holiday season is coming up and I gotta do some things. But I mean, if that's what you want, I'll do it. I just gotta ready myself. But yeah, guys, that's all I have for right now. You might think you're big and bad and big and buff, but you're nothing to a ghost because you can't attack it on your level. It's gonna come on that spirit's level, so you can't beat it. So this is Pac-Man Jones for Savannah Seaport News. And
really scary.
You bet.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, this is really, really scary now.
I trust you.
What are you doing?